It is easy to see the image of this Western woman in many rural areas of Vietnam, participating in the community activities with local farmers.
Đối với Gabi thì dạt dào tình cảm yêu thương với người nông dân nghèo của Việt Nam. Gabi rất có cái tình muốn rằng nâng cao cái cuộc sống của người nông dân Việt Nam nói chung và nói riêng là người nông dân trồng thanh long của Việt Nam. Và theo như cảm tính của tôi đó thì Gabi là một người phụ nữ Canada rất tuyệt vời. Nó nằm trong tình cảm, trong lòng của người nông dân chúng tôi và nhất là đối với các thành viên của Hợp tác xã Thanh Bình.
Two farmers, the Dragon Fruit Cooperative of Thanh Bình in Bình Thuận Province in particular, and many other provinces in general. The Canadian woman who speaks Vietnamese with a Western accent but is enough to talk for hours, Gabi Breeden, is a mentor, a vocational trainer, and a big friend. She is currently the director of Vietnam Cooperative Enterprises Development Project, funded by Canadian government. Her main goal is not the increase in numbers, not the report rural economic growth. For her, the improvement, the prosperity of farmers is the mission of her life. Therefore, during the past nearly 20 years, from one project to another, Gabi Breeden has continued to support the establishment of new model cooperatives, eating with farmers, living with farmers in order to listen to and understand their thoughts and aspirations. As a result, she made a great contribution to the revision of 2012 cooperative law, and this woman is always proud to say, "I am a Vietnamese Canadian." Hello, you're watching Share in Vietnam. Gabi Breeden is very popular among farmers community in many areas in Vietnam. Today, let's have a talk with her to get to know how has this woman built the relationship with Vietnamese farmers, as well as her love for the country. Hello, thank you for joining our show today. So what impressed you the most when you first came to Vietnam?
First, the landscape, the culture, but most of it was the planning of the government. For me, when in 2000 I was in Vietnam and I was reading the newspaper and see that the government was planning until 2025 with objective and indicator in terms of electricity, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, airport, road, bridge. And for me at that time, I was like, wow, they're thinking in 2025. And it was amazing, that capacity to be able to manage and organize your nation and your country with this vision. So that was impressed me, and I was really more than interested to work with Vietnamese to understand their way of thinking. And now, my first mandate in Vietnam, I've learned a lot from Vietnamese.
Anyone who knows about Vietnam sees that our country has rapidly developed during those past decades. And how about your Vietnam? How has it developed in your own view?
A lot of change in a positive way, a lot of progress. And as you know, Vietnam is not anymore in the category of developing country, but emergent. So the economy is switching. The one reason to come, it was also at that time the Doi Moi. I studied sociology and economy. And I was fascinating how the economic transition and how will have affect also the political situation and all the geopolitical. In this 20 years of change, I realized that most of the transition and modernization, Vietnam is catching very fast, very quick.
Then do you find any similarity between Vietnamese people and the people in Quebec?
For this aspect, the community, collective economy, and solidarity, we have this in common too. And also mediation, trying to conciliate and understand the perspective of each other. So Vietnamese too have this also qualities or values. And of course, the Vietnamese culture is so respectful and very nice culture.
Then may you share the biggest reason which keeps you here in Vietnam?
Of course, I wanted to come back in Vietnam, and you cannot just come back and, you need to have something, a good project, a good organization, and the mandate in Vietnam. I was in Thanh Nguyen for many years, working with a tea cooperative around the city and in the mountain. So it was a very nice experience. And we have developed a co-op there, financial co-op and an agricultural co-op, that also have brought some benefit for them. And I do believe that cooperative, what I'm passionate for, can be a good model for these communities, for the economic development and on the sustainable way. Like I mentioned, this is a challenge for Vietnam to accelerate this transition, economic transition, to how to be able to also respond to the environment and social issues at the same time. And I left during 10 years and I came back, and now it's 1 year. It was a lot of emotion when I went back there, and one co-op that I was there for the establishment, the General Assembly. So, and now it's a successful co-op. They're making a very good transaction with the members and good economic benefit. And most of the producers and the chairperson, Chiep and Chinyai, that I met again, they say that they talk as farmers, as a producer, that the co-op is the best model. So I do believe that what I've contributed with them and how we have collaborated in the past still have good results. And this is why 10 years later I come back doing nearly the same thing, but with a different angle, with more experience, more knowledge to share. And that's why it's very interesting what I'm doing at this moment in Vietnam.
Speaking of Gabby Breeden is talking about cooperative. The term cooperative seems to have been ingrained in the flesh of this woman, and perhaps the best way to feel Gabby Breeden's relationship with Vietnamese farmers, there is no better place than the tea cooperative of Tân Hương in Thái Nguyên province. Because this is the first place Gabby Breeden lived and worked for a long time when she first came to Vietnam nearly 20 years ago, where the woman learned the first Vietnamese words, learned the ways and customs of Vietnamese culture, eating, living as the true Vietnamese farmer.
Đặc biệt là chị rất là ham học hỏi cái tiếng Việt. Thế thì tôi là những người mà sát sườn nhất với chị Gabby trong những cái thời gian mà sang làm việc với hợp tác xã. Thì có những cái câu chữ mà chị không hiểu ấy, thì chị lại hỏi tôi. Có nghĩa là chị không có theo một cái lớp nào học nào cả, mà chị tự học. Cứ thấy cái từ nào nó lạ thì lại đề nghị là tôi phải giảng và dạy.
In 2001, farmers were still unfamiliar with new knowledge, new technologies, which are unlike the way they learned from their family. But this did not discourage Gabby Breeden and her college. For years, the young girl who was at her 20s constantly learned to communicate with Vietnamese farmers, continuously organized training sections and community activities.
Chúng tôi thật sự là khâm phục và rất là cảm ơn chị Gabby hy sinh tất cả vì cộng đồng, vì việc làm cho những người nông dân nghèo khó. Chị đã đưa chúng tôi từ những cái chỗ mà không biết gì về kinh doanh, không biết gì về quản lý, thì chúng tôi đến nay đã biết kinh doanh và biết quản lý.
Up to now, after nearly 20 years, Tea Cooperative of Tân Hương is one of the few cooperatives that has survived and developed strongly among those established in the project that year. It is now one of the 100 best new model cooperatives in Vietnam. Nearly 20 years passed. Some members of the cooperative passed away, some still alive, whose hair turns gray. But their memory and affection for Gabby Breeden always exist.
Hợp tác xã chè Tân Hương được như ngày hôm nay nói chung và bản thân tôi nói riêng thì luôn luôn lúc nào cũng coi Gabby như là người nhà, như là đối với bản thân tôi thì coi Gabi như là một người em gái, còn với hợp tác xã thì coi Gabi như là một người bạn lớn, là một cộng sự không thể thiếu trong bước đường phát triển hợp tác xã.
Gabi Breeden's reunion moment with these women after nearly 2 decades visiting the brainchild of the tea farms they together developed since very first days is a touching moment. This is the most typical demonstration of the supportive, cooperative and mutually benefited relations that Vietnam is always towards on the journey of integration. So how do you feel about Vietnamese farmers during those years working with them? Do you feel any similarity between Vietnamese farmers and the farmers in other countries that you had chances to work with?
Vietnamese farmers, producers, and in general in the society, the level of education, of understanding, participation amaze me, impress me. Anytime that we are in a workshop or in small or different meetings, the capacity of analyzing, discussion, and everything. So for me, working with the co-op here or producer, they learn fast, they're open to change. It's just how to communicate better the information, how to listen their concern and find solution together. So in that way, is the facilitate the cooperation and the collaboration when you really try to understand each other. So I think it's more in that way that they appreciate my collaboration to be able to try to find solution with them.
Then what is your biggest concern of how to develop Vietnamese agricultural co-ops as well as improving the farmers' living?
Agriculture can be it's the base and the foundation, or it's very sector that is very important, and how to mobilize the youth to be attracted to also agriculture, because the farms, even if I reflected also in the co-op, they are quite old farmers, and the youth are not so interested to take the farm and continue. So we need to find, I think, a way to modernize the farm, make it more productivity, but in the good technique and of course with ecological aspect, to make sure that the youth will continue that work and it will not fall in some few big landowner that at the end buy all the small. And yes, also agriculture, women are there everywhere in the different kind of tasks. So now it's just maybe to also ensure that they have the same knowledge, access to the knowledge, to information, to improve the production, and also be able to manage and be part of the board and the management board of a co-op, to also understand the market and how to make more benefit in the different aspect of the value chain. So women have a key role in the agriculture, and it needs to be reflected, and we should all do more effort to make sure that their contribution and their experience, and they can also have access to information and discussion and decision.
Until now, do you still face any obstacle in living in Vietnam and communicating with people?
Well, always we always try to communicate by gestural, and I try my best also with the Vietnamese I know to understand them. But of course, sometimes it's frustrating that they want to share and they explain many things and you cannot understand all. But we have so far a very good relation and collaboration. As soon as I see that I can and I still can contribute to Vietnamese cooperator or the cooperative movement and other aspect in the country, I will stay here forever. If I can, I will definitively.
Yeah, thank you so much again.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all for Sharing Vietnam today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.